Hi, over the next 7 minutes, I'll outline why the clock is ticking and why you'll need to report on carbon. My name is Noel Ainsworth and I work for the Department of Prime Industries. My background includes working as an Extension Officer in horticulture, having been based at Mareeba, Brisbane, Gympie and Kingaroy. I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land and seas on which we collectively meet, who've managed this land for the past 65,000 years. I would like to start by introducing a few carbon or climate terms. I will refer to net zero, carbon neutral and climate neutral as the same thing, but some people don't, so be prepared to check. In this video, I'll also refer to storing carbon and reducing emissions, rather than the longer technical terms of sequestration and mitigation. You may also hear the terms carbon farming, insets and offsets. Carbon farming is the generic term referring to farming in a way that either reduces emissions or stores additional carbon. Carbon farming activities are those that adjust your business's total emissions that you may use as insets. Carbon farming projects include actions aligned to carbon credit scheme methodologies that can be used to generate offsets to sell to others. In 2022, the Australian government committed to creating a range of policies that included measuring emissions, creating reduction targets, and developing decarbonisation plans. It also created regulation to enforce action by some sectors and created markets to promote voluntary action by some sectors as well. Industry organisations are also busy in the sustainability space. There have been a number of elements flagged in this National Farmers Federation Sustainability Framework, including greenhouse gas emission reductions, which help deliver the P1, P2 and P3 areas here. And this will probably be followed by biodiversity in P4 and P5 as the next global sustainability issue. The horticulture industry has also developed its own sustainability framework, but how buyers interact with this is yet to be clarified. Again, let me emphasize that mandatory emissions reporting that I'm discussing today is only one small part of this proposed voluntary sustainability or ESG reporting. When you take action will depend on a significant number of factors, but governments usually try to influence this using a carrot and stick approach. You will have heard that the international community through the IPCC and the Paris Agreement are concerned about the greenhouse gases and their links to climate change. And I've just outlined some Australian policy and regulations, sustainability and BMP frameworks outlining what you ought to do. You could also sell carbon credits using carbon farming projects, gain market advantage reporting your carbon footprint. And I also recognise that better carbon farming can improve profitability and protect your financial and natural assets. But what I want to highlight today as the nail in the stick or the sting in the tail is the introduction of mandatory climate reporting. Back in September 2024, mandatory climate reporting legislation passed both houses of Parliament, triggering changes to the Corporations Act. This means that over the coming 3 financial years, about 6,000 businesses will have to start reporting directly, with the bigger businesses having to start in the 25-26 reporting year. Companies like Coles and Woolworths are in this group of large companies and will be required to do climate reporting. And about 80,000 suppliers to those 6,000 businesses will be asked for their emissions data as Scope 3 contributions in their second year of reporting climate data. Now, there are still some details to be worked out, including the Australian reporting standards. Currently, there are calculators to help the various agricultural industries estimate their emissions. This includes horticulture and viticulture calculators. However, there is still some active lobbying about what these calculators should include and when reporting should commence. I'm already seeing the food, retail, agricultural, and banking businesses being active in this space, setting targets and reporting. I also see them hiring staff to work with their suppliers, and I see a range of activities where retail buyers are supporting their suppliers to reduce their emissions. Reporting is coming, not only in Australia, to drive the decarbonisation of all businesses in the economy. So what's in it for producers? Well, market access is number one. Informing consumers about our products and our part in the decarbonisation is the second. And given that farming is about capturing carbon and selling it to feed the growing world population, farmers are in the box seat to play a significant role. I want to finish this brief video by acknowledging the Carbon Outreach Project under the Farm Business Resilience Program, which is jointly funded by the Australian Government's Future Drought Fund and the Queensland Government's Drought and Climate Adaptation Program. I'd also like to recognise the considerable development of information provided by the University of Melbourne. And finally, if you'd be willing to provide some very brief feedback on this video to improve the Carbon Outreach team's understanding of your needs, just use this QR code link. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.